drops him down to Code B.
In the top right, he needs to win here to have a chance at redemption. He is.
Stats.
You know stats is a palindrome?
Yes.
No, you didn't. You didn't know until I told you.
You're right. To the bottom left on the red.
Curious.
Wolf, did you know curious is a palindrome?
No, it's not.
You knew I was going to try to trick you.
I would do this all the time when I was a kid. I'd be like, do you know this? And I'd always say yes. And I was like, how did you know that? I'm like, because you just told me. That was like me being a lame, like, you know, you know me pretty well, but I love making bad puns. But when I was a kid, I was even worse, man.
Were you?
Yeah.
It's hard to imagine, Wolf. It's
Well,
really
my father,
impressive.
man, he was even like the king of bad puns. So,
Pretty punny.
yeah, indeed.
All right. So, here we are. Seeing what builds these guys are going for. Looks like this is going to be the Forge into Scouting, perhaps. Or not. Okay. Just going to long-distance mine from that natural. Might be afraid of a proxy hatchery. This did happen to him before on this map.
Yeah.
So I guess that makes sense. But, you know, he misses out on just a slight amount of minerals by doing that one extra mining there. But, again, I guess it gives him peace of mind that he doesn't have to play against that proxy hatchery play. So we'll go for that Nexus first and into a gateway. So pretty greedy, but it's going to be fine against Curious, who's gone hatch first into pool.
Yeah. Like got some of my throat artosis. Okay, I think it's finally calmed down.
That's good.
I hate
when that happens.
I'm running out of water artosis. Like, this has become a valuable resource. Okay, so we have now the third hatch going up. And yeah, that was kind of a funny opening by Stats. He seemed pretty concerned about his base being denied.
Well, you know what? Here's one thing to take into consideration. I know that when I used to play StarCraft professionally, I would prepare the map that I know is going to be picked against me more than almost any other map. And so he might actually feel great on this map. He may have super prepared for it, knowing that Zerg is going to pick against him all day. So maybe he's just saying, okay, the only way I can really be screwed up is something like a proxy hatch. So by sacrificing just, you know, what does he really sacrifice there with one long distance mine? Like 15 minerals maximum?
Yeah.
It's, maybe he says, okay, you know what, it's worth 15 minerals to me in the early game to make sure I can come out with my absolute best play. With the strategy, the style on this map that I feel so confident with. And that makes sense. Being a game up, why not? I'll trade 15 minerals every time for a bit of safety.
That's why you're Captain Careful, as they say.
Yes. Captain of the Carefuls.
Well, I mean, it's always better to be safe than sorry. Something like that. I heard that once.
Indeed. You know, every thumb is a finger, but not all fingers are thumbs.
Ooh.
Yeah.
It's like every square is a rhombus, but not all rhombuses are squares.
That's true.
That's about it for those quotes, I think. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think there's anything else.
There's
quite
nothing
like
else
that.
in the whole world like that.
Yeah.
Those are the only ones where it's always one way, but never the
I'm
other.
like, not all socks are clothes, but not all clothes are socks.
Oh yeah, that too.
I think it's a famous one. Yeah.
Yeah, I've heard that. My mom used to say that.
Yeah. That's what she used to tell me when I had to put the socks in the sock drawer instead of the rest of the clothes.
Yes. It's a good way for you to remember it. All right, so we actually have Oracle on the way, which points towards this could be a Void Ray opening here.
Very
like Void Ray Colossus type of play.
Void Ray Colossus, take the third base.
We'll see what he can get done with this this Oracle. Of course, it was scouted, so probably not a whole lot. But, you know, an Oracle doesn't have to kill as many drones as you think it does. You know, like, when the Oracle was first introduced and everyone was going it all the time, it was like, oh, I didn't get any kills with my Oracle, I guess I'm dead. But if you just keep it alive a long time, you will pick up kills over time, and it becomes useful for tagging things, detection, all sorts of things.
It's a great defensive tool against speedlings at your third. I really like this opening specifically when you're using it to take a third with Void Rays. I really don't like oracles as a way to be like, well, I'm ahead in this game. Let me see if I can get some damage done with this oracle. We've seen this a lot, like even in other matchups where players are like, well, he's behind in tech. I'm just going to go oracle. It's like the way you can be sure that like you're going to do a mediocre amount of damage and your opponent's going to catch up. He's really going full air here. He gets +1.
Do you see how quickly he's getting +1 in the second Void Ray? Before the Nexus, this kind of reminds me of Alicia's old Sky Toss build.
Yeah, especially with 2 Stargates going up right away here.
Yeah, it really is. Alicia from Axiom used to do a build somewhat similar to this. Let's see if he starts in the Void Ray right about now. Wait for his bank. And there it is. So something we could see here is a move out with 3 to 4 Void Rays in the Mothership core. And what you do, because you do have such a quick +1, you go hunting for a 4th, because your opponent is either going to do like a 3 base, like very strong attack, or they'll be taking a 4th at this time. So the thing is, what are the odds that at a 4th base, they have enough to stop 4 +1 Void Rays, an Oracle, and a Mothership core? You're most likely going to be able to snipe the hatch. And if you do, then suddenly you are going Sky Toss, 3 base versus 3 base, and you've killed one of their bases. It's pretty crazy.
Got to be careful with how you do it. The only way to really lock that down and punish it is if you do it on like a map like Habitation Station, where there's like no dead airspace back there, and you think there is, and you just like, suddenly lose 2 Void Rays. I think that happened in Pro League the other day. Or if like they have infestors for some reason really fast. But otherwise, you're pretty much guaranteed to escape. This base, I don't think he can kill it, but he is gonna interrupt some mining here, it looks like. And actually,
he might lose some probes.
He turns the Void Rays around even, yeah.
And that's powerful in and of itself to turn those Void Rays around.
Yeah, that's exactly what.
But how many probes do we get? This is actually the part that's a little bit gross. Now he forces the Nexus Cannon, which is actually quite nice.
To me, I almost feel like if he's going to use the Nexus Cannon, he could have actually kept the Void Rays going to attack and sent the Mothership core only back. What do you think about that? And then keep the attack going?
Yeah, I suppose you're right, but without the Mothership core, you have to be very careful with those Void Rays, because if you lose the Void Rays, the game is over.
True.
You have to keep your you've like invested so much in having these Void Rays early, but you know what? That did, as you said, turn this attack around, so he never got to hit this 4 Void Ray timing, which is super powerful, and like it would be there right now, and that would be canceled.
Yep. Which
Which is nice, but that was kind of late 4th anyways, so it's not as big a deal as it may seem.
I've been talking about this a little bit more often recently. I'm not really in broadcast matches, but usually like off with my friends and other casters out here. The strength of the Void Ray in a composition is not actually its damage output versus armored units. Its strength is actually that it stacks and it can fight above a ground army, so it's extra DPS. And that's why it's so difficult to attack into Void Rays, even with Hydralisk. There's Zealots on the ground doing damage, there's Void Rays in the air, and they're so mobile they're going to chase this army. And he can like fly and retreat over that high ground, for example, right now. But he doesn't even have to. He's going to kill these Hydras.
Well, yeah, look at that. He has enough Void Rays at this point, kills every Hydra, and now he's killing off Roaches because Void Rays kill Roaches. This attack was like ill-fated from the get-go, to be honest. He just simply didn't have enough Hydras. If you want to attack into someone who's going 3 Stargate that quickly, you better have a lot of Hydras. But I guess, like, did he not know? I guess he just had no idea that he was going for more than 1 Stargate Voids.
He didn't scout with an Overseer. Or I think he tried to, but he got denied.
Yeah. But yeah, I see what you're saying about the strength of the Void Ray. And one thing that actually struck me, this was back at the beginning of StarCraft II, In Control said one of the smartest things I thought about Void Rays. Void Rays pair so well with Force Fields, because the Void Ray actually has some very nice range on it, and as soon as you Force Field, not that much can hit the Void Rays.
It's true.
And then they pair off well against almost anything if you have some Force Fields in there to make sure that not too much can fire at them at once like this.
Well, he loses a lot of Void Rays there, but the Zealots now are going to make it all okay. But that was a pretty good trade for Curious.
Yeah, that was good.
Even losing all of these Hydras, like, he still killed a few Void Rays, which is pretty important. It looks like he's not going to even lose all of them, actually,
he lost
as it turns out.
All those. I would give that as a negative and give that as a plus to stats. But as is, he got away with enough.
He might kill these Zealots, too. These Void Rays are a bit
his
out of
army
position.
is a lot better now. Now, we have no Force Fields. We do have Charge, but that's not a lot of Zealots. That was an overextension on the map by stats for sure. And
he's going to lose 2 more Voids here at least.
Yeah.
He might even lose 3.
That's pretty painful. You can't really be losing Void Rays. You have to retain them. They're your very expensive units. You put so much into making them. And he has no splash damage because of that. Does he have enough for a Nexus Cannon? I'm not sure that he does.
I don't know. Even a Time Warp would be pretty nice for him right now.
This is fantastic micro from Curious. Notice how he stayed back out of Void range for most of that.
Yep.
Really got to whittle down those Zealots, but yeah, with this other this other set of Hydras rather coming up, he may have enough to knock out all these Void Rays. And the problem is, as soon as you lose too many Voids, you don't have anything left, because this is what you've been investing in. Like, he's not getting super great upgrades or tons of splash damage units or even tons of tech.
Yeah, he's built a 3-base economy that's strong, solid. It's like taking away a knight's sword. You know, like the knight is still strong, but he doesn't have a sword anymore to cut through anything. So he's got to like get a new sword, and that takes a lot of time and a lot of money.
He has to go to the blacksmith.
Yeah,
and you know what? Even though he has 3 blacksmiths here, does he have the minerals and gas to pay them?
Exactly. The blacksmiths are like, listen, man, I need a lot of SP and gas. What do you got?
Well, as is, he is getting Psystorm. So as he gets Psystorm, that's going to help out a lot.
I think he's like basically saying too, you know, what are the ways to beat Void Rays? A lot of people say, well, there's no way, but actually, fungal growth and Hydras. But Psystorm counters Hydras. Infestors are countered by High Templar. Storm is not ready yet, but he sees those Templar, and he doesn't know that it's not ready, so he's like, oh, I got to get out of here.
That's true. That's true. He has to be very careful about that, and it was almost ready, and now it is. So, you know, it was a fine pull away. But you know what? Curious is playing this well, and it feels like even those stats, he took a little bit more damage. He overextended forward a little bit too far, chasing those Hydras down. Took some damage because of that. Got flanked by Hydras a little bit later, and after taking that initial damage, that secondary damage was much higher than it should have been because of the primary damage. But still, he's got himself in an okay position where I don't see him just 100% dying this game.
No, I don't either. I wonder how he's gonna be able to stats that is fight his way into a 4th base.
Well,
I wonder if he will even try it. I mean, you can't usually just win off of this composition.
No, you're right.
There's no like Void Ray Colossus timing attack at max out. It's not like the Colossus Stalker times that we saw Knighten do. Like, it's like you have to take a 4th base and keep trading against the Zerg, but...
Yeah, and I think he is. Like, he's actually kind of transitioning out of that old build that he was doing, which is not a bad build at all, but it didn't quite do what he was planning on, and he's going into more of a Void Ray Colossus High Templar, like a more balanced army overall. So, even though this was going to be Sky Toss, it looks like it's just going to be Void Colossus at this point.
Okay, Storms here will shred this army if he can connect to them, but again, Curious's micro is really, really good.
He's bringing up these Infestors now. This could be huge.
I feel like the 2 players are the best Roach Hydra micro are like Curious and Coca. It's a shame that Coca is taking a step back from StarCraft 2 again, but I think like when I watch this play of Curious...
Coca has been doing the hokey pokey with StarCraft for quite some time now, Wolf.
That's what it's all about.
Yeah, for him, I guess.
Yeah, he's... shaking it all around, man. When he comes in, he certainly does. Yeah, I'm always disappointed.
Yeah, Curious is very good with its unit comp. That's definitely a fact.
There's just like not everybody actually micros their units to death against this type of composition, and if you do, you get so much more out of them.
Mm-hmm. Well, right now we do see some Zealot harassment that didn't quite work out right. And in fact, Curious might be overextending here slightly. Looks like he's going to lose a chunk of that army, a kind of expensive chunk. In the meantime, he is sending up this army to the 3rd base. But I don't know that he's going to be able to get too much done. Yeah, look at that Psystorm. Very nicely done.
I don't think the Mutalisk switch is a good idea, actually, against this much Psystorm. I don't know. He's like throwing this army away. He's like, all right, I'll make a ton of mutants, so let's see how I can trade this comp.
The thing is, it's only Psystorm, and ooh, gross.
He actually saves the
It's only
Nexus.
Psystorm. If you make 30 mutas here... Oh, wait, never mind.
The
There
Archons
are a
too.
lot of Archons
And
now.
actually, Void Rays once they link are not so bad. Plus, he has the infrastructure to make Phoenixes off of 3 Stargates here. I don't like this choice.
It's true, but he's going for a little bit of a surprise. I think he's realized that he's traded poorly several times. He was on layer tech for a long time. Didn't work out for him after the very first few attacks. So he's got to do something a little bit tricky here.
Well, now, getting these Archons is pretty huge, but he's going to lose a lot of Infestors for it.
Yeah, but is he even going to kill off those Archons? We'll see about that. These Zealots going down to that Spine Crawler area, and here come the Mutas.
Needs to get those Archons down ASAP, and he does.
That's still a little bit questionable right there, especially if there's more Psy Storm. With that many Archons, it's hard to actually engage that.
True. Well, there's that base, the top left is now complete for stats. He saved it against the Hydras earlier, so he's got that to fall back on. Curious is going to go for a flyby here. I don't think this is stats expected. I think he thought he was going to try to keep using the mutas to defend.
Yeah, yeah. Well, the base trade feels really weird and late on the side of Zerg here. And Stats is going for these Phoenixes, so I don't think he even cares all that much that this is happening. But we do have another switch into Roaches slightly. He made like a pretty big group of Roaches. And still making mutas as well. The thing is, these Phoenixes are being microed quite well by Stats.
And he didn't kill the Stargate, so he's still able to just keep making them. He's not camping the Stargate, so if he gets this Nexus, that's great. That's one step in the right direction, but it buys enough time for Stats to get as many Phoenixes as he needs.
When you look at it, as soon as he kills this Nexus, the mining for Stats is done.
Yeah,
that's it. There's like nothing in the main or natural.
This base is pretty weak from earlier. I think he meant to target the Spire there.
For sure he did, yeah. He's like, I gotta get that Spine Crawler ASAP. Well, let's look at what these armies actually are, because both players are going to be down and not mining pretty quickly here. Ooh, losing some extra Archons. You
did a lot of damage with them, though, before they died.
Now, look at this, all these cannons. He really wants him focusing on these cannons. Oh, that pylon, it powered too much all at once, all by itself.
Yeah, that sucks, man, when that happens. Well, I mean, you have a pylon that's all by itself like that. You know, it needs a second pylon.
It needs a tasteless pylon to back it up.
Oh, that's Phoenix. Looks like it may never finish.
Yeah, maybe not. Well, I want to see the actual unit tab right now, because the main army of Protoss, that might be doable to pick off.
Well, it's too late, I'd say.
But the Phoenix is mixed in. There's no chance, right? Like, there's just no chance.
Yeah, I think that Curious is dead here. He doesn't have enough.
Yeah, like those Roaches don't even count. There's so much stuff that just hits ground in this Protoss army that those things will just die instantly. Like, they aren't even going to soak up much damage. There's not enough. But it's all about the muta count and how many Phoenixes are, I would say. Because, see, here, this is really good anti-muta already, but as soon as you add in, like, 6 Phoenixes, that's it. And, he actually has no Phoenixes left, so never mind.
Well, I mean,
but still, look at that. 5 Archons? 5 Archons, it was like 5 or 6 Voids and like 3 or 4 High Templars?
There's just way too many buildings. Even if, you know, he was able, if he decided to say like, oh, I'm just going to kill all the Protoss buildings, try to kill my hatcheries and hide for a while, like he doesn't have enough.
Well, you know what, he's still working on the Protoss buildings and he can see the map. Okay, and now there's no money left to build anything because Stats warped in some Zealots. And he's actually warping those in to slow down this base trade. But with this mobility of the mutas and hiding buildings all over the place, I wonder, because he has 19 drones, he can build a lot of extractors all over the place. He, like, maybe, obviously I'm, like, siding with Stats here. It looks like Stats is going to be able to take it, but...
Well, the problem is that...
He just flies in and out, picking stuff off.
We saw that for a second there, and I think if he could keep it up, the thing is Mutalist range is so small. It's hard to actually do that without taking too many losses.
It's true.
He doesn't have enough mining to make up for it. In fact, he has no mining as it is right now. So it's like, if he were mining a little bit, then maybe he could like try to work his way back into a salvageable position. But I think now he's like, I think I need to send these drones over and start mining. Oh, that storm.
Well,
these mutas are not fighting for a while, yeah.
Yeah, but the thing is, his army is just faster. Nothing here is as fast as mutas, so he can do things like this and just target, target, target. Now, of course, he did find that hatch, but another hatch going up in the bottom right. He should run that Spore Crawler somewhere funny.
Yeah, that Spore might bleed out.
Yeah, it's like he just needs buildings spread out. His only real chance here is this, exactly. Running from the Protoss army while trying to kill stuff.
Oh, God. That hurts.
Oh.
All these units are so low. And actually, you can see that maybe even...
Oh, he's going for the storm. Nope, doesn't quite get it. Every single hit now is killing like multiple mutas. Look at this. Oh.
He's actually going to get trapped in between these two
Protoss
armies. Like well, this is the real story, man. Can the Immortal be killed? No.
GG. Couldn't quite do it. Strong play by Stats. So I told you, he was playing well today.
I was like...
little mistakes earlier on, but this is the sad story, is that Curious falls right down to Code B.
Yeah, I was so certain he was going to get out of the group today, but he is not showing the same level of skill that I've seen from him in the past.
I think he played pretty well overall, but this is a tough group. It certainly is. He played against Ragnarok. No one expected Ragnarok to come in that strong. Stats is probably a player you look at. He's like, oh, he has a possibility to beat me for sure.
Yeah. Well played series by Stats. I liked how he decided to play that Void Ray style on Overgrowth on his opponent's map pick.
Yeah. It truly was Alicia's build, like modified slightly for modern times, and it actually kind of went wrong, and you had to go into very normal play quicker than you normally do, because normally you're like moving around the map a lot more with Speed Lot, High Templar, some Archons, and Void Rays.
I would have liked to see like a more clean-heavy, infestor-heavy composition with the gas that we saw from Curious instead of trying to go into Mutas after he already saw that there was Psystorm and that there was a ton of Stargate production to make Phoenixes.
I think once he saw that it was like Void Ray Colossus, the thing is Void Ray Colossus kills basically everything.
It's hard to actually win against that with Infestors and Queens only.
Yeah.
Unless you hit the perfect Mungni Fungals, which Stats knows all too well. He lost like a very important Pro League match where he just walked into a Fungal. I think he lost to Rogue actually in that game, but it's really, really important to make sure that your composition is the one that you feel the most comfortable with too, I would say, against this because like if you're not that good at actually going mass Queens and trying to fight with Infestors, then you're gonna like accidentally lose all your Infestors to Colossi or something. I mean, obviously,
sometimes it's not even an accident. Those things deal a lot of damage.
It's actually usually not an accident, but we're gonna go into a quick 5-minute break, guys, before we go into our final match to see who's going to Code S.